Hi, it's Lyndon, and one of the questions that comes up a great deal is, should I upgrade my mouthpiece? And the short answer is yes, you probably should. A great mouthpiece can make such a difference, or a professional mouthpiece, and yet it's really not completely obvious what the difference between a cheap mouthpiece and an expensive professional mouthpiece is, especially when you have a look at them back to back. So here I have a kind of generic cheaper mouthpiece that you wouldn't pay very much for, probably about £20, and here I have a professional mouthpiece which is going to be in around the £200 mark. And when you look at them side by side, they look almost identical. I know this one's a bit more shiny because it's never been used, this one's clearly been used, but other than that, what's the difference? Well, there is a big substantial difference, and the main difference is the materials that they're made out of. This cheap one is plastic, and this is another material called ebonite, which, as far as I understand, is a kind of hardened rubber. And I think so that's one of the differences, the material. Another difference is this cheap mouthpiece has been machine made. Nothing really wrong with that, but it's machine made, and they produce as many as they possibly can. I don't think there's any hand finishing goes on with this. This is made, made by hand, largely, or at least finished by hand. And this is made by people, this expensive mouthpiece, that really, really, really have high standards and really care about their product. Whereas this is made by people who want to make as many as they possibly can and get them out of the factory. Again, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but that's just the difference. So, because this is a hardened rubber, it's a little bit heavier and it's definitely more dense than this, so that when you blow it, the sound wave that you're creating, all of it, or most of it, goes down the saxophone. When you create a sound wave in this, because the molecules of the mouthpiece are less densely packed together, I think some of it escapes through the mouthpiece, so you don't get that effect of getting loads of bang for your buck. So when you blow this, you get a bigger, fuller, richer sound, and when you blow this, not so much. The cheap mouthpiece is perfectly good to get going on, but if you've been playing for more than 3, 4, 6 months, 8 months, right, upgrade your mouthpiece and you'll get a completely different sound, which would be better, richer, fuller, nicer, easier sound, so you don't have to work quite so hard. What I would say is that these mouthpieces take quite a bit of getting used to if you've never tried one before, so you need to give it a month or 2 months. By the way, I am completely biased, because the advice that was given to me was, when I first started playing, was get a really good professional mouthpiece like a Mayer 5 medium chamber and stick with it. Don't keep changing your mouthpiece. And that was the advice that I took, and I've stayed with it. Some people like to change their mouthpieces for different musical situations, and that's absolutely fine. Me personally, I don't. I use one mouthpiece for everything, and I've got a high level of familiarity and comfortableness and intimacy with this particular mouthpiece. I feel like I know it really, really, really well, and I quite like the sound that comes out of it, so why would I change? But that's not everybody's way of thinking, and that's absolutely fine. So and especially nowadays, you get printed mouthpieces, you get all kinds of different really interesting mouthpieces, but that's just my bias. I'm very biased. Mayer 5 medium chamber 5mm, fantastic mouthpiece for alto saxophone. The reason that I don't use a metal mouthpiece on an alto saxophone, this is my thinking anyway, is that alto saxophones are naturally bright, and that ebonite mouthpiece balances out that brightness really, really nicely. If you put a metal mouthpiece on an alto saxophone, you're going to accentuate that brightness, or even take the brightness up, which is absolutely fine if you want to do that, if you want to get quite a bright sound. Nothing wrong with doing that at all. Personally, again, I like the balance that I feel that an ebonite mouthpiece brings to the alto. I don't like the sound that I make quite so much if I put a metal mouthpiece on my alto. For tenor saxophone, I have exactly the same philosophy. I've been using the same mouthpiece pretty much from the very beginning. In fact, from the very beginning. I've not really experimented with many other mouthpieces. And the reason for that is I really like the sound that I get out of this one. And this one is an Otto Link Super Tone Master 7-star. That's what it is. An Otto Link Super Tone Master 7-star. A lot of people really like these. Some people don't get along with them. That's completely normal. And the reason why I use a metal mouthpiece on a tenor saxophone is that the tenor saxophone, for me, has a naturally, this is all my opinion by the way, has a naturally more woody, kind of breathy sound, and the metal mouthpiece really balances that out really, really well. It complements it and kind of balances it, so it actually raises the brightness of the tenor's natural breathiness. Whereas if I put an ebonite mouthpiece on a tenor saxophone, I don't get a sound which is as nice as what I can get on this. And that is, again, that's just my opinion. So those are my thoughts. Should you upgrade your mouthpiece? Yes, you should. You should absolutely. If you've got like a really super basic mouthpiece on your saxophone, you should definitely upgrade it. It's worth it because you won't have to work so hard, you won't have to blow so hard to get a big, full, lovely, rich sound. That's what a professional mouthpiece would do for you. What you can do is most really good music shops, places like sax.co.uk, there's a place in Cambridge here in the UK, or your local music store, should allow you to go into a booth and try out 4 or 5 mouthpieces to see which one works for you, and try some out. But you should know that even when you upgrade your mouthpiece from a basic mouthpiece to a professional one, there's going to be an adaptation phase associated with that. It's going to take you a while to get used to this new mouthpiece, but it's totally worth it. That is my take on mouthpieces. It's not the definitive thing, it's just my opinion. I'm just sharing with you my thoughts about mouthpieces. If you have any questions about mouthpieces, then please leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.